Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel. We are at the formerly known as Infineon Raceway, now known as Sonoma Raceway for the Toyota, well, I guess not Toyota anymore, or at this point in time, the Dodge Save Mart 350. First road course race of the year at Infineon today of two for this 2003 Cup Series schedule. Coming into today's race, Greg Biffle got his first career win yesterday at Michigan, a track that he has won the most at out of any racetrack in his career. Obviously, that was in the future. This was his rookie season in 2003. Not only he's closer to trying to win the Rookie of the Year standings, but we kind of dropped back a little bit ourselves. Racing as Terry Labonte, fan-voted driver that you guys picked way back at the Bud Shootout at the beginning of the season, and that live stream, that is why we're running as him this year, your fan-voted driver. He's still 10th in the point standings, in the top 10, but dropped back 6 spots yesterday after a DNF and a 41st place finish. Dale Jr. had even bigger problems. He was the points leader going in. He blew an engine very early in the race, finishing last place, only leading a couple laps. 5 bonus points there, but the last place finish did not help him, and it dropped Jr. from first in the standings back to second. He only fell back that far because Tony Stewart, who took the points lead, didn't have a great day himself, finished outside the top 20. Stewart leads by just 26 points into today's race. We know him as a great road course racer. I think he's going to do really good here today. Oni, welcome to the stream, and we are about to get started here for today's 110-lap, 350-mile race.
NASCAR Winston Cup racing in the Sonoma Valley today. EA Sports is live with flag-to-flag coverage of today's Dodge Save Mart 350 from the Infineon Raceway. This course should present quite a challenge to these drivers, wouldn't you agree?
Well, these guys only run on road courses twice a year, which means they don't spend much time tuning for them. There's a good chance we'll see a new face in victory lane at the end of this one.
Jerry Nadeau is one of those guys who you just keep expecting to break out and have a good year.
Yeah, you do. He's got a ton of talent and some good equipment. He's shown he can win and run up front. Now he's just got to string some success together and gain some confidence out there.
Terry Labonte has been called the Iceman because of his cool demeanor under pressure. But maybe the nickname Iron Man is more appropriate.
That's right. Labonte set a record for consecutive race starts with 655. That's over 20 years without missing a race.
Kenny Wallace is towards the bottom of the points list this season.
And how frustrating must that be? You're working just as hard as everyone else, yet you just can't seem to finish well on race days and gain the valuable points you need. Those guys need a good finish just to regain their confidence as a team.
Jonathan Rogers, welcome to the stream as well. Crowd is roaring, engines are roaring, and the cars are about to pull up onto the racetrack for their opening pace laps. While they're doing that, we'll take you through today's starting lineup for the Dodge Save Mart 350. Mart will be starting on the pole for the third time this season. Outside pole in second place, it'll be Jeff Gordon, looking for a good bounce-back performance himself today. At row number 2, it'll be Rusty Wallace starting, well, I guess technically outside because it's a road course, but you get it inside. Oh, no, okay, yeah, so again, so he's starting outside. Again, the inversion's a little bit weird here. So Jeff Gordon's on the pole. Mark Martin will be starting second. Tony Stewart inside row 3. Rusty Wallace outside row 3. Steve Park, Ryan Newman will be in, row 2. Messing this up a ton right now. Steve Park and Ryan Newman will be in row number 3. Jimmy Johnson, Christian Fittipaldi, row 4. Best qualifying effort from Fittipaldi so far this season. Jerry Nadeau and Kurt Busch will be in row number 5. In row number 6, it'll be Terry Labonte and Matt Kenseth. Labonte, the most winningest driver this year. Kenseth with one win himself as well. In row number 7, it'll be Kevin Harvick and Ricky Rudd. Boy, I'm not coming out of the gate strong with this realistic live stream. We'll get better, trust me. Bobby Labonte and Elliott Sadler will be in row number 8. Jeremy Mayfield, Kyle Petty in row number 9.
Starting in row 10
Ward Burton, Dale Jr. back in row 10. Jr. wanting that bounce-back performance after that engine failure in a last-place finish yesterday at Michigan. And row number 11, it'll be Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton. Jarrett's had some pretty fast cars over the last couple days, but the damage he suffered in that crash that also took out, of course, our driver Terry Labonte yesterday. Had to suffer damage that slowed him up, kept him from a top 10 finish. Row 12, you got on the inside at least Ricky Craven, our Daytona 500 winner. Johnny Benson with him. And row number 13, Michael Waltrip, Jamie McMurray, Sterling Marlin, and Joe Nemechek will be in row 14. Kenny Wallace, Kevin LePage, row 15. Behind them in row 16, Greg Biffle, Ken Schrader. Again, we already mentioned Biffle won yesterday at Michigan, and that was mainly due to the randomization of the finishing order. Mike Skinner and Jeff Green will be in row 17. Behind them in row 18, it'll be Brett Bodine and Hermie Sadler. In row number 19, it'll be Jack Sprigg and Casey Mears. Mears also blew an engine after starting last place yesterday. It was a very, very downhill performance for him. Ashton Lewis and Stanton Barrett will be in row 20. Row 21 will be David Green and Bill Elliott. And Robbie Gordon, road course ringer, will be starting from last in today's race. Very interesting. Have to keep an eye on him. I think he could have a good performance. He actually won at Infineon in 2003. So here we go. That was the starting lineup. Jeff Gordon will lead the field to the green at Infineon today. Green flag is in the air. Labonte spinning the tires on the initial start back there, already making contact with Matt Kenseth before they even got into the first turn. Oh, and he's into the back of him. A big checkup uphill through the S's. Everybody just trying to find their line here freely. 3 wide to the outside goes Labonte. Labonte actually was fastest in final practice. First practice, he was 7th on the board, qualified 11th. So we'll have to keep an eye on him today, as we obviously will. Wow, big passes being made. 3 wide, and now Waltrip. Sorry, that was Jerry Nadeau in the 0-1. Got the paint schemes mixed up there. Both very similar. Jerry Nadeau into the back of Terry Labonte after Labonte made that 3 wide move to pass a few cars and quickly get inside the top 10. Double file restart causing for maybe a little bit of pain here in the middle of the pack, as you're seeing. Contact multiple different times. Kurt Busch to the inside of Christian Fittipaldi. He's going to outbrake him. Labonte outbrakes both drivers. Not a lot of room, and Kurt Busch just kind of cut off the 5 of Terry Labonte right in the center of the corner. Oh, Kenseth into the wall hard now, down towards the start-finish line. Crazy opening lap of the race. But they made it all the way through nonetheless. There were 3 wide going into that hairpin corner. Fittipaldi was on the outside, kind of let the 97 and the 5 go to his inside. Kurt Busch, I don't know if he thought he was clear or just didn't know Labonte was there at all. He just pinched him off right in the middle of the corner. Oh, I pretty much watch anything sports-wise, but NASCAR is obviously my number one, hence the NASCAR-oriented channel. But I have my favorite teams for, the 4 major sports in America: NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. But I pretty much, only watch my favorite teams unless it's the NFL, but a lot of that's because I actually play fantasy football too, so kind of like to keep an eye out on how the other players are doing. Great job. Terry Labonte seems to be hitting his marks perfectly. Both hairpin corners, and now we have a crash. Cautions out on lap 2. Further back in the pack right after Labonte was able to pass Kurt Busch. Kenny Wallace at the rear of the field piles into the back of Jamie McMurray, bringing out our first caution in that tight hairpin corner, turn number 9. So Wallace into the back of Jamie McMurray. Spins himself out. That's our first caution of the day. I don't think anybody's going to pit here with it only being lap 2. There you see the current points as we run. Stewart started towards the front of the field, so that's obviously why he's already increased his points lead over Junior today. Green flag back in the air at Sonoma. Wow, Labonte barely holding off Kurt Busch. Kurt's mad enough to take a swing at him, and another checkup in the S's on the restart. I think that's going to be a common factor today, as there's a checkup by Steve Park, who is trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson. Johnson was on the inside of him, and now Johnson makes contact with Park. That allows Labonte to get around his teammate. And Johnson trying to get back around Terry Labonte, perhaps. Labonte going to try the outside to get around Steve Park. Labonte's so good in the hairpin corners. Really where he seems to be making his moves. Unless other drivers make a mistake, obviously, he'll try to pounce on it from there. Labonte showing some of that speed he had in practice. So one caution on lap 2 today. We've had 3 cautions in each of the last 2 races leading up to this one, but none as early as we saw here in this race. Big pass by Rusty Wallace on his teammate Ryan Newman. Labonte going to follow Wallace on by. Newman loses a couple spots there, and Terry Labonte quickly, after starting 11th, is in the top 5 despite only running 3 green flag laps due to that caution on lap 2. Locking the brakes up into the hairpin, just making sure Rusty Wallace wasn't going to check up like they were on the restarts. He didn't do that. Good crossover move there by Labonte. Now to the inside of Rusty. And he just barely clears him off the exit of the corner. Points leader Tony Stewart right in front of Terry Labonte. Stewart swings a little wide. Labonte just can't quite get underneath him. And now Labonte does get alongside another block by Tony Stewart. But we'll see if Labonte can get that run into the hairpin. He's been really good at this end of the racetrack today. Stewart running a little bit of a protective line, kind of entering in the middle of the corner. Middle lane into the corner. Labonte checked up, making sure Stewart wasn't going to pinch him off like Kurt Busch did earlier. That tire barrier, tire wall, whatever you want to call it, on the inside of the racetrack makes it a little tough. You don't see that today's NASCAR. It's a lot harder to shoot that gap. Definitely a lot tighter of a corner than what we're compared to now. So after what was maybe not a wild card race like today's is as far as the season championship goes, with it being a road course, but yesterday at Michigan, no driver inside the top 10 in points, finished in the top 10 at the end of the race. So I guess if there was a race for the points leader to finish dead last with a blown engine early on like Dale Jr. did, it should have been the race yesterday. That way, even though he lost the points lead. Oh, and a little contact. Labonte pushed tight right in the center of the hairpin. He was underneath Stewart, clipped him right in the right rear. Stewart goes a little wide, not only lost the spot to Labonte, but Rusty Wallace just about got around him as well. Stewart was able to at least hang on to the 4th position. Labonte to 3rd now. Still early in the race, got to take care of that race car. Only on lap 10, we'll have 100 to go this time by. Season 1 here at Infineon, we had a very wild race. We had a big crash, I believe, on like lap 4. We had a caution a little bit earlier in this one, though it wasn't a big crash. Multi-car incident with Kenny Wallace and Jamie McMurray at the back of the pack, as we saw in that replay. Got 4 people watching right now. Only 1 like so far. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps me out a ton, but thanks for joining in again here Sunday afternoon. He's been kind of sliding the tires on corner exit just a little bit. Jeff Gordon leading this race, has led every lap so far. Has the track position, so hard to pass the leader on these road courses. We've seen track position come into play at Pocono a couple days ago. That's what helped Labonte win the race with a strategy call on a late race caution in the final few laps, setting up that 3-lap green-white checker. Mark Martin, though, pretty good road course racer in his time earlier in his career, running in second. Gordon, one of the arguably best road course racers of all time in NASCAR. Bonnie at times locking up the brakes a little too much. It's all right in those sharp hairpins because it seems like he's gaining time doing that, especially on corner entry to make passes. But through these carousels, through the S's, going to have to keep an eye on that here throughout the course of the race. But he is inching closer and closer to Mark Martin as the laps wind on. Handling of the race car seemed pretty good, quite honestly, practice and qualifying. I went a little wide in turn 1 in qualifying. That's what caused us to go 11th. Our lap 1 time was a little bit faster because of it. I didn't hit the wall, but I went off into the dry grass area, the sand area of the racetrack. Definitely slowed up that second lap time. Gordon is slightly pulling away from Martin, but I think his biggest competition is going to be Terry Labonte back there. Gordon led a lot of laps in yesterday's race at Michigan as well. Labonte gains ground all over the back bumper of Mark Martin. Off the exit of the hairpin. Maybe looking to make a move in the next hairpin corner. Once they get downhill, Martin a little bit better though in the carousel. Pulls Labonte by about a car length and a half or so. Martin swings a little bit wider though and gives the ground right back up again. Labonte looking to make a move into turn number 9. Just sends it underneath Mark Martin. Got it to stick, and Labonte's up to second. Martin ran really wide off the exit of the corner as well. Gordon has still led all 12 of these laps up to this point. Going to be interesting to see how maybe the pit strategy is going to work out today as well. Not sure exactly how far we can go on fuel. We had too many cautions in the race back in Season 1 to really tell how far we can go in a full fuel run. Already one caution early on is going to kind of disrupt that as far as how far they can go in a full green flag run. It's likely going to be a 2 to 3 pit stop day, though, if I had to imagine. Probably closer to a 3 pit stop race. I'd have to believe these guys can go about 30 laps on a full tank of fuel. I could be wrong on it. We'll have to see. But if they can go that far, it should be a 3-stop race easily. Labonte is faster than the race leader right now, really showing the speed he had in practice. Wasn't able to really pass anybody in practice, was really patient. Here in the race, he's making it look pretty easy. Coming from that 11th position, Gordon beat him back to the gas just a little bit. Labonte definitely drove it in a little bit deeper. Lap traffic going to obviously become a factor as well when the time comes, if the time comes. Again, depending on how the cautions might be spaced apart today. So Jeff Gordon's got company right behind him. Again, his Hendrick Chevrolet teammate, Terry Labonte. Labonte trying to make a pass as soon as he can so he can get those 5 bonus points. The last 2 races combined, Terry Labonte has led just 31 laps.
Watch it, just on your left. Look on both sides.
And I say just 31. There's most drivers, maybe they can't lead laps in a 2-race stretch. But Terry Labonte does have 7 wins on the season. Sorry, 6 wins. Yeah. I had it right. 7 wins on the season. And here comes the pass on Gordon. Ooh, contact. Gordon hangs on to the lead. It just gets so tight. If you're in the center of turn number 9, between getting pinched off if you're on the inside trying to make a pass or, just a little bit out of shape, there's going to be contact made, and that's how Labonte got into Tony Stewart earlier. That's probably how Kurt Busch kind of pinched him off in turn 9 as well earlier in the race. There's a slight bit of contact there battling for the lead, but nothing major. Oh, that could have been a little interesting. Labonte is all over the back of Gordon, looking for the lead on his teammate. Drives it in deep again, locks the brakes up. So hard to pass the driver with the clean air as you're seeing right here. But a good battle for the lead nonetheless. Into the next hairpin. Labonte side by side for the lead. Gordon again beats him through the shifts and beats him back to the gas to hold on out in front. Gordon trying to lead as many laps as possible. Another driver in that championship hunt. He's already led the first 14 laps. And Labonte's now alongside Gordon. Gordon runs him up the racetrack. Runs him off the racetrack a little bit as that sends Terry Labonte in the sand. So not only Labonte accidentally got into Gordon the last lap, but Gordon maybe a little payback, sideswiping him as Labonte got alongside of him. Not complete rivals yet. You don't want to see teammates become rivals with one another. Labonte tried to get around him cleanly, actually got to his outside, was probably going to be in a good position to pass him in the hairpin. Gordon knew that. Gave him a little love tap. Great set of corners there by Terry Labonte. Gets back alongside Gordon again. They're side by side for the lead. Gordon's not mad enough to take a swing intentionally at Labonte, though he kind of did. A couple corners ago, look at Gordon sliding the tires on the outside, just trying to hang on to his positioning. Labonte drives it in a lot deeper into the hairpin. And all clear of Jeff Gordon at the top of the racetrack. Now they go downhill through the carousel. Labonte going to try to pull away with the clean air advantage and hopefully lead his first lap of the race, this time by giving himself 5 bonus points today. Gordon leads the first 15 laps from the pole, gives up the lead to his teammate. Mark Martin was starting to close that gap a little bit back in third place after the initial contact with these guys. But Labonte hangs on. And there we go. 5 bonus points for Terry Labonte. Leading his first lap of the day of hopefully many as he tries to go for that 8th win of the season. 8th win in half as many races, might I add. If he can win today, at least. Still within 1 race worth of points. He only lost 9 points yesterday from the points leader, the new points leader, Tony Stewart. Second time Stewart's led in the standings this year. Still first half of the season. Long ways to go. Coming into this race, I should say coming out of this race, leaving this race today, we'll only have 20 races left on the season, but although it's only 20, still a little bit over half the year. Tomorrow night we go back to Daytona for the second time this year. First time we will go to a track for the second time this year, so you'll start to see reoccurring racetracks on the schedule like that. Pocono, Michigan coming back on the schedule within a handful of races again as well. And others like Dover, New Hampshire, once we get into those final dozen races of the year. Richmond as well, Bristol, and you guys get the point. A couple new tracks along the way, of course, though, because we still have to go to New Hampshire that first time. Chicagoland coming up on the schedule in a couple races as well. Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. So you will still be seeing some new tracks. Watkins Glen we'll go to one time this year for the final road course race of the year. Interesting summer portion of the schedule, that is for sure. A lot of bigger tracks as we've seen over the last handful of races. 3 tracks of 2 miles and bigger. 4 if you count today in the last 6 races. It'll be 5 once we go to Daytona tomorrow. For the Pepsi 400. For our summer Daytona race. Under the lights. Had a pretty good Daytona 500. Gonna have to avoid the big one at all costs, though. We had 2 big ones at Talladega, and we had 2 big ones in the Daytona 500 as well. Actually, about 3 of them. Got the one at the end of the race, I guess, too. And took out only about 5 cars, but still. We are running the same Got Milk paint scheme that we ran last night and had not as good luck as, say, the Cheez-It scheme or any of the other schemes we might have won with this year. Labonte has just slowly been pulling away from Jeff Gordon. Not a lot of tire wear for Terry Labonte right here. Running a pretty consistent line again. And not a lot of damage on the race car, but it is still early on. It's definitely going to have to monitor that as we go into the lap traffic further on into the running today. .4-second lead at the line. Top 5 runs like this. Terry Labonte in the lead. Jeff Gordon second. Mark Martin still in third. Then you got Tony Stewart fourth. Ryan Newman rounding out the top 5. Newman was able to get back around Rusty Wallace a handful of laps ago after Wallace had passed him a little bit earlier in the race. So everybody in the top 5 are all in the top 10 in points. Junior, not known as being a great road course racer, actually never really was throughout most of his career, especially early on in his career, which would technically be this 2003 season. He would have only been 4 years into the Cup Series. Qualified 20th. He's no longer the points leader. He's second in points after losing that yesterday, but he's within 26 points of the lead. Could be a big step back, especially knowing that the top 10 are still within 134 points. Labonte being that 10th driver. And I say only 134 because, again, the way the point system works, you can outscore somebody by as much as 151 points. Therefore, mathematically, they're all within one race worth of points from each other. 20 laps complete. Labonte's led 5. Jeff Gordon's led 15. Nobody else has led so far today. One caution back on lap number 2. You can really see on the track map how spaced apart that field's getting over the longer run. Went green on lap 8. So it's been about 13 laps since the green flag waved once again on the restart. We had terrible luck in the 4 road course races we ran on season 1 with the custom schedule. We DNF'd out of 3 of them. But luckily, we were able to actually win one at Watkins Glen. Granted, we had to run Watkins Glen twice to win there the second time, but we still got to win at Watkins Glen. We DNF'd out of the other 3 road course races prior to that, so we definitely got to be on our toes here today. It could be one of those stroker ace kind of races where we're either going to crash out of it in spectacular fashion or we'll go and find ourselves in victory lane. Yeah, so halfway through the field run, lap 22, you take out the 4 caution laps we ran, and you're probably looking at just under 20 laps into a field run. So there's no reason why these guys shouldn't be able to go 30 laps on an actual fuel run under green flag conditions. So we're probably looking at a 3 pit stop race today. Tires are going to matter quite a bit as they usually do on road courses, so if we see somebody short pit, that can really be an interesting thing here, especially under green flag conditions. Short pitting is a huge factor of road course racing because the tracks are so long in length. It takes, at least for this track, as you see, just over a minute 10 seconds to get a full lap in with this 2-mile configuration at Infineon. We'll have to see how this is going to go. Cap24, welcome to the stream. Almost 200 subs. Nice, man. Congratulations on that. A loose into turn one. That was about the move Labonte pulled in qualifying, but luckily, right there, it was a lot better for him. So that means if we stay green to green flag pit stops, assuming Jeff Gordon doesn't run Terry Labonte back down, Labonte's slowly able to pull away again, which again, Gordon could come back depending on how good he is in the lap traffic. We'll be seeing our first dose of lap traffic in a couple laps. Labonte's just going to have to be patient. Remember, when he won those 4 races in a row, when he was at his best this season, that's because of how patient he was through the lap traffic. A race in which he dominated this year at Richmond again. Similar situation. Was very patient in lap traffic. Was able to go on and lead all 400 laps in that race. Knowing that there are a lot of short tracks towards the end of the year that he won at, Bristol, Martinsville, and Richmond. He won all 3 of those already this year. And all 3 of those races will be coming back again within the final 12 of the season. Labonte can just get through these summer months, which if he can run good on the road courses, really, knowing we go back to Daytona, that's really another wild card race of itself as far as the season championship is concerned tomorrow. So kind of this, tougher stretch as far as trying to get to the finish of a race at Infineon today and Daytona again tomorrow for a 400-mile race. That'll be interesting. So lap traffic will be caught on the next lap, at least that first lap car. No signs of anybody being out of the race up until this point. And an 8-second lead now for Labonte over his teammate Gordon. David Green will be the first driver to go a lap down on the racetrack today. Assuming Labonte gets around him. Going to be patient in that tight corner. And Labonte's going to try the outside to get around him going into the hairpin. That didn't work. I think if he would have tried the inside, he probably would have been a little bit better off. David Green beats him back to the gas. Labonte going to have to try and get around him in another corner. Looks to the outside. Oh, a little contact. David Green's definitely crowding him. Labonte sends it and finally gets around him. Labonte just being extra patient. As he crosses over Ashton Lewis. Labonte gets around him. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Yep, definitely got to be patient with the lap traffic indeed, Michael. Robbie Gordon has had a terrible weekend so far. And I'm quite surprised. Robbie Gordon actually won in 2003 at both road course races. He swept the 2 road course races on the season at Infineon and at Watkins Glen. So it's kind of surprising he's been running towards the back today. We know him as a good road course racer and one of the road course ringers in the early 2000s, especially while racing with RCR. Almost won in 2000 here at Infineon as well. Well, Robbie Gordon not having a good start to this race today, qualified last, and he's currently running in the 40th position. Again, 1 caution on lap 2. going into turn 9, that final hairpin corner at the end of the racetrack. Kenny Wallace ran right into the back of Jamie McMurray, enough to spin the 23 of Kenny Wallace sideways. And the body clears Robbie Gordon. I think the hairpins are going to be the biggest passing zones that they already have been for Terry Labonte, but especially with the lap cars and trying to be patient. Just send it into there. It's going to be a little harder here as he gets on older and older tires, closer and closer to the end of the run. Oh man, Stanton Barrett trying to block. A little contact. Oh, a little bit more. Okay, they're not done yet. Bonnie should get around him into the hairpin again. Stanton Barrett trying to stay on the lead lap and crowd him a little bit. To eventually, though, end up going a lap down. Wasn't exactly what Stanton Barrett was hoping for, but Labonte's just got a fast race car. 10-second lead now. Such a long racetrack, though. Anything could happen. One caution just tightens the field up so much. Bonnie makes a move, puts Brett Bodine a lap down. Slight bit of contact. Ken Schrader. Big run here for Terry Labonte on Hermie Sadler. Oh, Sadler tries to block him, and around he goes, hard into the wall. Caution's out for the second time today at lap 28. Sadler tried to block Terry Labonte as Labonte tried to put him a lap down, so they'll race back to the caution flag. I'm not sure what Hermie Sadler was thinking there. Mike Skinner's barely going to hold on to the lead lap to the start-finish line, and our second caution of the day will wave. I don't know what he was thinking there. Obviously, with that right-handed corner coming up, Labonte was anticipating trying to pass Sadler on the outside, and Sadler just kind of pulled up right in front of him. Just a tad bit. I mean, it was planned for Labonte to go high. It might have looked like I turned him, but I definitely didn't do that. Not intentionally, at least. So caution will wave, and Labonte's going to stay out. He's going to keep the track position. But everybody pits behind him, and that was the spot Labonte was in, was knowing that he was the leader. He didn't know what everybody else was going to do there. Everybody hit pit road. Lap 32 restart. Labonte, yes, leads more laps. Actually, has led the most now, but now he's on older tires on the restart. Lap cars lining up to the right side of the lead lap car, so double file for the first 3 to 4 rows. Maybe a little more than that. Brett Bodine now maybe trying to block. Terry Labonte trying to get around these guys, but I think the lap cars are on fresher tires as well. Big slide by Terry Labonte. Labonte's just going to stay out as long as he can, at least as long as he's got the lead. A little contact with the 49 and the 11. Labonte tried to get to the inside of both of them. And then he made contact as they were 3 wide into the hairpin. See how loose Labonte is. Heavy pressure from behind for Mark Martin. Martin tries to look for the lead. Bodine swings a little wide. Labonte trying to get underneath him. Slight bit of contact again, but into the hairpin where Labonte runs the best. Sends it. Contact, though, with the 49 of Schrader. Lap 33, Labonte does hold on to the lead. Bodine's kind of holding up Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and company behind him, though. Ethan, welcome to the stream. Win or lose, complete the race, indeed. Labonte's going to lose all this track position when he has to come to pit road. He's got about a quarter of a tank of fuel left. But again, if he loses the lead, he might as well pit. Martin on those fresher tires definitely trying to run him down. So is Gordon and everybody else that pitted behind. Which the whole field came to pit road there except for Terry Labonte. Labonte would have even just been in second place. He would have known everybody in front of him was going to, or at least the leader would have pitted. And Labonte would have pitted alongside of him and just stayed on the same strategy, but that was a tough break there. And it was all because Hermie Sadler tried to block to hold on to the lead lap in turn 7 and spun himself off the front bumper of Terry Labonte's race car. Martin a little bit faster than Labonte that last lap. Terry doesn't have the clean air right now either with Ken Schrader right in front of him. Labonte pushes a little tight there. Definitely wants to get around Schrader as soon as he can.
Watch it. There's on your left. Still there. Careful.
Ooh, contact.
They're all right.
Labonte pushing tight again. Those older tires. Clears Ken Schrader finally in the hairpin that time. Now he has the clean air and he can try to run away at least until he has to hit pit road. The only good news is Labonte has the track position, so he's still leading laps. He has led the most up to this point, barely over Jeff Gordon. 18 laps led for Labonte compared to Gordon's 15. Though Mark Martin will likely end up taking the race lead away. Labonte a little wide again there. Had a little bit of issues trying to get into the pit lane in practice, so we'll have to keep an eye on that if he makes this green flag stop here pretty soon. Mark Martin got around Ken Schrader in turn 9. Martin still a tad faster that last lap than Labonte, even though he was trying to pass Schrader. Tells you how much the tires really mean right here. But what's going to mean more, clean air or tires at this point? Martin's going to want to get to the lead as soon as he can, try to get those 5 bonus points just in case Gordon can't get back in front of Martin before the pit stops end up coming. The tires are sliding all over the place. At least it's not like NASCAR Heat 4 or 5 where it's like driving on ice when the tires get below 30% tire wear. Thank goodness, because if that was happening with this game, with this analog stick, that would not be a fun time for me. And we probably would have already hit pit road. I would have hit pit road under the caution if that was the case, even if everybody would have stayed out. Yeah, Gordon is still stuck behind Schrader. He's about 4 seconds off the lead now. So this is the time for Mark Martin to either get to the lead or just hope Labonte pits as soon as possible and gives Martin the clean air advantage because he's already a few seconds ahead of Gordon. Favorite road course is probably Watkins Glen, especially because I was there in person. It's been fun to watch Charlotte Roval, but the Roval's only had 3 cup races, so I'm not going to necessarily put that on top. But that was a fun race when I was there. I was there when Chase Elliott won his first race at the Roval when he crashed going into turn 1 and came from the back of the field to the front, so that was definitely fun to watch and do that. But I also was there to watch him at Watkins Glen that same year in 2019 when he held off Truex. Not his first career win, but again, a second win at Watkins Glen. And Labonte goes a little wide. Mark Martin underneath him. Both drivers in deep into the corner. And wow, Labonte tries to cross Martin over right in the center of the corner. Couldn't do it. And Mark Martin will take his first lead of the day on lap 36. So Martin out in front of the field here at we were just talking about Watkins Glen here at Sonoma. Wine country. Labonte actually gained time on him right there. Older tires, lack of track position, that's definitely going to cost him. Gordon was starting to close in too. how deep Labonte's able to drive it into the hairpin. So battle for the lead. Oh boy, they almost made contact through the carousel. Martin swings a little wide into turn number 9. Or sorry, turn 8 rather. Now into turn 9, into the hairpin. Labonte again to the inside. He's going to clear Mark Martin. Barely. Nice clean pass into turn 9. Just overran the corner enough. Drove it in deep. Another lead change. And Labonte back out in front again of Mark Martin. Martin say, hey, I want you to pit now. And get out of my way so I can lead these laps. But Labonte's saying otherwise. Yeah, I plan on going to a couple more road courses next year. I want to go to Indianapolis. I was there for the Brickyard 400 2018. Different configuration, so I consider it a different track with the road course. I want to go there this year. It's the second closest track to where I live, even though it's 4 hours away. So it'll be another like kind of shorter, drive to get to a different racetrack. So I want to go there, and then also Road America is only about 6 hours for me, which would technically be, I believe, the third closest racetrack to where I live, as far as like, time and mileage. So I want to go there this year as well, especially first race at Road America for the Cup Series since 1951, and it's only the second race there ever for the Cup Series. So I definitely want to go there for that. It'll be my first trip to the state of Wisconsin. You guys know I'm a Packers fan, so you can definitely bet I'm going to be getting some Green Bay souvenirs from Green Bay, Wisconsin while I'm there. And it's the 4th of July weekend, holiday weekend too. Why not? Martin's putting pressure back on Labonte again as the battle continues for the lead. And Mark Martin really did not get back to the gas at a good spot there. And look at Jeff Gordon. He has closed the gap immensely on the top two since going back and forth for the race lead. Johnson should race the Indy. It's definitely possible that he could do that. He said he doesn't want to step in a stock car for a while, but literally he's at the same track, same configuration. He'll be running IndyCar first, so if he wants to keep like his top priority as IndyCar, they're running the Indy race on Saturday and the Cup race on Sunday. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. It wouldn't be for Hendrick Motorsports, so that's the only underlying issue. Johnson obviously raced only at Hendrick his whole career in the Cup Series. So you wonder what kind of team, what team he would race for. Bonnie's got about 1.5 gallons left of fuel. Lap 40, he is the only driver to not hit pit road yet today. Everybody pitted under that second caution. Martin gains a little bit of time there. Into the S's again. Gordon still closing that gap. That's why Martin wants the clean air as soon as he can. He had it there for a lap. He was able to lead one lap, and Labonte got right back around him. And probably his best passing zone all day on the racetrack in turn 9. It's been a pretty fun race so far to this point. 40 laps will be complete at the line. Labonte's going to stay out of the pits this time. He'll likely be coming onto pit road the following time by. It's a 2-mile road course with this older layout. The one that we are more accustomed to seeing with stock cars on compared to the one that we saw back in 2019. We went back to the original layout because of the 30-year anniversary of racing here at Sonoma. So Labonte stays out of the pits. He's got about 1 gallon of fuel left. He wasted about 0.6 of a gallon that last lap, so he probably won't be able to go another lap after this, or at least a full lap. So there's a good chance Terry Labonte will be coming to pit road this time by. And boy, he is hoping for a caution right now. That would be something. Hard onto the brakes into the hairpin. Big slide with the older tires there. Labonte's actually pulled away about the last lap and a half from Martin, but Martin knows he's going to be pitting very, very shortly. So Labonte coming to pit road this time. Will give up the race lead. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit at every track in this game. So Mark Martin will take his second lead of the race. Race leader Terry Labonte on the pit road for the first time today at lap 41. 4 fresh tires, no adjustments, full tank of fuel coming for the 5 team. Yeah, I tend to forget Ross Chastain's going to be a rookie. Well, I guess not a rookie next year in the Cup Series, but he's going to be running for Chip Ganassi. That's another, more dominant car that could get a win next year. You never know. Or make the playoffs. So, yeah, the Cup Series field has definitely gotten more competitive next year. When you look at, that playoff bubble compared to what it was the last couple of years. Instead of seeing, maybe 2 to 3 drivers battling at the end of the regular season at Daytona, I think you're going to see 4 or 5 guys that could actually point their way in going into that last race. Mark my words. Labonte coming back up onto the racetrack. Traffic right around him. But Labonte's got fresher tires, and we'll get to see him try to come through the field. He's in 32nd, still on the lead lap, of course. Boy, Christian Fittipaldi, after starting 8th place today, has fallen back to 31st. Tough break there. He had a good qualifying effort. Of course, that open wheel background probably helped there, but not able to keep the lap times as consistent here during the course of the race. Labonte outbreaks him into the hairpin, gets right around him. Jamie McMurray right in front. Again, he was involved in that first accident with Kenny Wallace earlier today, and as you can see the damage on the right rear of McMurray's car. Labonte going to try to make a pass on him. On his outside. Oh, and again, McMurray turns himself head on into the wall, just like Hermie Sadler did earlier. Lap 42 sees our 3rd caution of the race today. That one was a lot more obvious than the first one. Same area, same corner in turn number 7, and McMurray just turns himself off the front bumper of Labonte, battling for 30th. And that's tough for Labonte, because that's going to trap him back in 30th on the restart, and that's going to likely put him on the same strategy as everybody else again. Wow, oh, Mike Skinner involved too. I thought Skinner missed him there for a second, but McMurray ended up back on the racing surface. And Skinner hit him pretty hard. And we'll see if anybody pits this time. Terry Labonte just came off the pit lane, so maybe to gain that track position back again, he might stay out anyway. We'll see. These guys have about a little under 20 laps on their tires. Oh, they're coming into the pits. So they're all coming onto the pit lane. Terry Labonte's going to stay out and take the track position. Not sure if everybody's coming to pit road or not, but some drivers definitely are. That's why you're seeing a stack up.
Time to earn your money. Those cars behind you have new tires.
So the top couple drivers stayed out and everybody pitted behind them. Nope, never mind. So Gordon and Martin stayed out. I guess they didn't. Terry Labonte definitely stayed out after pitting just a couple laps prior. Under green flag though, back in the air again.
Still beside you. Keep digging.
On the restart, 3 wide. Robbie Gordon, Hermie Sadler right there. Labonte trying to be patient. He's just going to let him go. He didn't want to keep it 3 wide, though Mark Martin is now on his inside looking for the lead. And Labonte again, though, is going to take it 3 wide anyway. To the outside. Not a lot of room. Almost in the wall goes Labonte as Mark Martin will take the lead down to the bottom. Labonte crosses over. Back to the inside of Mark Martin. A little bit of contact is made 3 wide with Robbie Gordon right there again. Trying to hang on to the lead lap. Not going to be able to do it. So they race back downhill through the S's. Labonte a little wide again. Barely holding on in front of Sadler. But Mark Martin is back in the lead. Only a couple lap fresher tires, not going to make a difference. And Labonte's going to brake there and making sure nobody's going to try to block him in turn 7 again, because that has caused a wreck a couple times already today. Oh, big run to the hairpin. Somebody made contact further back. Oh! Bump and run accidentally as Labonte clips the right rear of Mark Martin. Labonte back out in front again at lap 48. Another crazy restart here at Sonoma. Yes, I do plan on watching the Rolex 24. I always watch it every year. It's like the one IMSA race I definitely try to watch. Usually at least a few NASCAR guys in it, like to see how they do. And it's pretty much the open to the year as far as the motorsports world goes. I guess the Chili Bowl would technically be that, but I haven't been able to find a way to watch the Chili Bowl, so otherwise I would. Heard it was a good show this year, though, so definitely should try to find a way to watch it next year. Mart's starting to claw back into this. The outside goes Labonte. Now Schrader kind of pinches him up high. Martin closes in, though, on the bottom. Well, if Labonte knows one thing for today's race, is don't try to pass on the outside in turn 7, because that is twice now that somebody further back in the pack has tried to block him in that said corner. Or maybe they got tight and ran wide, one way or the other. Labonte was there. Car pulled up, didn't clear him, and we got an accident because of it. 3 cautions in the first 50 laps of today's race at Infineon. Everybody's pitted twice except for Labonte, who's only pitted once. So Labonte might have to pit a few laps before them again next time, but not a whole lot of laps, really. Got back in the gas a little too soon there. Martin struggling trying to pass Schrader. Schrader really held up Jeff Gordon on that last restart, for those of you that might remember. Bravo 9's been getting pretty good on these restarts. Being a lap car, he's gotten in front of the leader both times already. Ooh! And he definitely overdrove turn 1. Clipped the inside wall with the left front. Surprised he hasn't done that more often today, to be completely honest. Puts his left front in the yellow. It's not completely soft, but look at how much ground Mark Mart was able to gain on him. He was about 1.5 seconds off the lead, and now he's less than 1 second off the lead. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today when we get back to the start-finish line. Yeah, Martin's definitely closing that gap. Trying to figure out how he got in front of Jeff Gordon to begin with, and I think it was because of pit stops under that first caution of the day. that really caused that to the second caution of the day that really caused that to happen. Because remember, Gordon led the first 15 laps from the pole. Bonnie locking up the brakes. Closing in on Brett Bodine. Gonna want to try to pass him as soon as he can. Luckily, the curbs on the road courses don't really jolt the car around as much as they do on, say, like Pocono or Phoenix on this game, so that's kind of nice. Bonnie a little wide there, trying to get around Bodine. Sure he's close enough now. That dirty air is becoming more and more of an impact. Big dive to the inside goes Labonte, and he'll clear Brett Bodine in turn 9. Trying to block and making sure Bodine doesn't try a crossover move. Only the second race with this Got Milk paint scheme on the year, so we obviously haven't won with it yet, because our first race was last night at Michigan, and we crashed out just past the halfway mark. We're almost halfway done here today at Infineon, though. In a couple laps, we'll reach that mark. Again, it's been a pretty fun race today. We've had battles for the lead on green flag runs. 3 cautions up to this point. None bigger than a 2-car accident, really. Despite how congested together it's been on the restarts. Mark Mart now about 2.9 seconds off the lead. So almost 3 seconds back of Terry Labonte, and he hasn't really caught Brett Bodine yet, but once he does, I'm sure it's going to take him a couple corners at least to get around him. That should allow Labonte to pull away just a bit more. We'll hold him up at least a little bit longer. See how choppy and rough this racetrack is, certain points. A little bit older surface at this time period. If I remember right, I think it was repaved there towards the end of the 2000s. Yeah, 3.5-second lead. So now Bodine's been really holding up Martin that last lap. Held him up about a half a second, if not maybe 0.6 of a second. Tell you what, the tracks where the driver's skill comes more into play have been the tracks that Terry Labonte's been able to win. I think obviously a track position kind of race at Pocono was still a tough track to drive. He won there. He won the 3 short tracks that are less than a mile in length. At Richmond, Martinsville, Bristol. He's leading today at Sonoma. It's where the experience is really showing for Terry Labonte here in this 2003 season. Jeff Gordon has been right behind Mark Martin the last couple laps, with Martin struggling to try and make a pass around Brett Bodine. I do have light stability help on for the road courses, limited. Kind of like I do with NASCAR Heat, just to make sure that we can make it longer than 5 laps into into the race. For entertainment purposes, of course, you guys don't want to see a 5-lap race. You want to see, you try to get to the end of it at least. A little harder to run with the steering wheel on this game. Or not the steering wheel, but the, well, it might be harder to do that too, but the drive in the cockpit camera, especially on the road courses, I don't usually have too much of a problem with it, but kind of went a little wide there in the hairpin. Wasn't paying enough attention there. Time to look at the chat. I find it weird where it says the braking. It's a little delayed on some corners. Like, I'll hit the brakes, get back in the gas, and then it'll show I'm braking. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's just this track with this game, or... I haven't really noticed that at any of the other tracks we were at this season. Or last season, for that matter. Like Bobby Labonte's car in the game. Yeah, the interstate battery paint schemes have always been really solid looking. They've always been pretty neat. 2003, no exception to that rule. Makes you really realize how long Interstate Batteries has been in NASCAR and has been a primary sponsor. Obviously, it's not full-time anymore with Kyle Busch. But at least a handful of races every year. And they were around full-time with Bobby Labonte when he was racing the 18 car there, even in the late 90s. Mid to late 90s. I believe Interstate Batteries was actually running when Dale Jarrett drove the 18 car as well. Back in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was an Interstate Batteries car. When he won the... I can't remember what season it was off the top of my head where he won the 500. Was it 1992? Where he won the Daytona 500 for his first time? Driving the 18 for Joe Gibbs. I think it was. I might be wrong on the year, but whatever year it was. Might have been 91. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember. It was in the early 90s, I know that. It was either 91 or 92. But I believe Interstate Batteries was on the car at that point in time as well. (1993) 5. Okay, so it's 1 year off. Yeah, that would make sense, because Sterling Marlin won back-to-back in 94 and 95, if I'm not mistaken, so... No, that I know for a fact. So Dale Jarrett would have won the year before that. Lap 60 here today. We'll have 50 laps to go once they get back to the start-finish line, this time by at Infineon Raceway. Do I think IndyCar would run Daytona Road Course once chicane? They're not running the Daytona Road Course this year, are they? Yeah, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't ever see them running at Daytona, even on the road course. And the reason why, if they aren't running it this year, because I don't think they are. I don't remember seeing that on their schedule. But if they did run it, they would probably just run it with... I don't know. It's tough to say for sure. But anyway, the speeds, even on road course at Indy, through 3 and 4, I mean, it would just be... They'd be going way too fast. And we know, IndyCar on ovals is dangerous enough. Running at Daytona and Talladega would be just a completely another ball game. Let's talk about if IndyCar happens to run Daytona. Yeah, they would never... I would highly doubt that they would ever run at Daytona in any sort of... Definitely not the oval. Even the road course, I mean, they'd be going super fast through the tri-oval. One of those cars takes flight. I mean, you gotta figure, those cars are a lot lighter than stock cars, and stock cars can go flipping at Daytona and Talladega like nothing. IndyCar. I mean, the whole car could go over the fence. I mean, honestly, like, no joke. Especially in the tri-oval. That would just not look good. So I guess they would probably use 2, but I don't see them ever racing there anyway. This could actually turn into a 2 pit stop race for Terry Labonte today. I mean, it's really going to depend. Right now, it's actually looking more and more like that could be the case. He made it to lap 41 before he pitted the first time. There were 2 cautions in that stretch. We've already had 1 caution during this stretch of a green flag run. We get another, he might be able to actually make it that far, and I think these guys can go 30 laps on fuel. You're looking at likely a 2-stop race for Terry Labonte, 3 for everybody else. Because obviously everybody else has already pitted twice, so they would only have 1 more stop as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if we do stay green to the end somehow, which I don't think we will, only because we have had 3 cautions in the first half of today's race. But if we go the entire second half without a caution, it'll be interesting to see how that strategy is going to pay off. Everybody's going to take 1 more stop. Labonte's going to be pitting before everybody else. Might see some drivers try to maybe short pit as soon as that window opens as well. Definitely be the case. Luckily enough for Labonte, he hasn't saw Sterling Marlin at all. I'd have to assume Marlin's been mid-pack the whole day. For those 2 drivers not to have seen each other this entire race. Martin still clinging on to second. It is night and day how fast the top 3 are compared to everybody else in the field, because even Gordon and Martin together have just collectively pulled away from 4th on back. And that's been like that this entire race. Even when we get longer than a 10-lap green flag run, the top 3 just kind of pull away. And they're with each other there for about 10 to 15 laps. And then after that, Labonte, once he gets to the lead, About 20 laps in the run, he is gone. This run was a little different because he was able to get to the lead a lot sooner and get the clean air a lot sooner. And they were on pretty equal tires. Bonnie almost got back in the gas a little too soon there. Seven-second lead. Not his largest lead of the day. He's been as high as about 10.5 seconds ahead of second place. That was before we got our second caution of the day when Herbie Sadler tried to block to stay in the lead lap and turned himself off of Labonte's front bumper. And with this camera angle, you can really see how choppy the racetrack is. Oh boy, Bonnie almost overdrove turn one again into the inside wall. That forced him to go a little wide when he overcorrected it, but kept it off the wall. He was definitely in the sand there a little bit, but could have been a lot worse. Tell you what else I'm excited for today, outside of this race and having a fun time with you guys as usual. My Green Bay Packers playing the NFC Championship later on. About 3 o'clock. I'm excited for it. This stream and this race should get done right before the start of it. That's what I was planning on with the noon start time. Granted, we started a little bit after noon today. I was having some technical difficulties I've noticed with my camera. Yeah, for some reason, so the new camcorder I got, it works. And for the first week I streamed with it, the quality was good and it wasn't delayed at all. But I've noticed it's kind of choppy now for whatever reason. The actual gameplay footage with the PS2 through the capture card, that's not choppy at all. That's pretty clean as far as frames per second go. My camcorder, for some reason, though, has been extremely choppy. When I talk, it's like my lips are moving after I actually say something, and it's just choppy. No other way to really explain it. So I'm not sure what the deal is there. And I don't want to go back to using my laptop, because I don't know how much money my grandpa spent to get this for me for Christmas this year, but I have to imagine it wasn't very cheap, so the fact that there's some issues with it. It was just when I first got it, too, there was issues trying to charge it, and I had to use the backup battery, from the get-go, because it wouldn't charge properly with the other one. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, why that's the case, but I don't think he got the best camera, even of that brand. Ooh. Overran turn one again. Right here at lap 68. Got to be careful. He's actually damaged that left front quite a bit now. This is about the second or third time he's actually clipped the inside wall going into turn one, the pit wall. Slightly overdriving that corner, so he's going to have to take care of the left front for the rest of this run until he comes to pit road. repairs that little bit of damage and puts 4 fresh tires back on the car. Especially knowing lap traffic will be coming eventually over this run. Not sure exactly when, but it will be coming eventually. I'd say I'm pretty good on road courses, generally. I mean, figuring that I'm still trying to get used to this analog stick, yeah, I know we have limited stability help on the road courses, but, you know, honestly, I kind of needed it with the analog stick the way it is, because otherwise I don't think I would have been able to make it that far into the race, to be completely honest. And we've DNF'd in the first 100, roughly right around 100 laps into the race at Michigan and Charlotte with this controller, but I mean, I guarantee today I would have made it further than like 20 laps, especially middle pack when we qualified 11th. Granted, the stability does slow you down actually a little bit more than what it does speed you up, so we could be running better if we had a stable car with this analog stick, but I don't think we would have had a stable car anyway. As the tires wear, it was only going to get worse. You can still feel a lot of tire wear even with limited stability on this game, so that's kind of nice. At least I'm still getting a feeling with the driving of the car. It just kind of slows me down a little bit too much in the corners compared to what I would like. It's alright. Better that than to crash out in the first 20 laps. But definitely with the NASCAR heat games, I've always been pretty good with the road courses for sure. Really got a good grasp and a good handle of things pretty easily. Got 9 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Only 3 likes so far. Definitely hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every day. So far, we've had a fun one at Infineon. We've had 2 great races already this week on this said game, Thursday and Friday. Crazy good finishes at Dover and Pocono on this final Thunder 04 season. Right now, Terry Labonte's trying to put Kevin LePage a lap down. LePage runs a little wide. Got right into the side of Labonte. Labonte trying to outbrake him now. LePage still there. Labonte's giving LePage a little bit of room now. He clears him, beats him back to the gas off the exit of the hairpin at the top of the hill. And again, he's trying to take care of the left front. He's got to be extremely careful. He knows he can't pass to the outside in turn 7. It's tempting, especially with Skinner kind of giving up that room right there, but it's better than getting another caution, especially at the edge of a pit window like we are right now. Bonnie definitely wants it to run green at least for a little bit. Boy, Christian Fittipaldi continues to move backwards. He's about to go a lap down if he hasn't already. I don't believe he's a lap down. Wow, Fittipaldi really slowed up right at the last second there. Just enough of a hole. He might have just gave up. You know, he's allies, or at least was allies. Maybe he didn't give up, but I figure he just let the race leader of Labonte go on by without a fight. It's been a rough day for Fittipaldi after qualifying in the top 10. Diamond Jeff, welcome to the stream. Big run into the hairpin inside of Jeremy Mayfield, and Mayfield's going to go a lap down now as well. Getting in the middle of alternating through the different camera angles for the first time today. Lap traffic for the second time today. Bonnie being extra patient with David Green. Again, he didn't want to get to the outside into turn 7 there. Into the hairpin. Gonna outbrake David Green once again. Well, first time he outbraked him. Well, I guess it would be the second time. So that's the second time David Green's gone a lap down today. Less than 40 laps to go at Infineon. Ooh, boy. Almost ran into the back of Kenny Wallace. He knew he was going to check up quite a bit. He couldn't quite get alongside of him into the hairpin, so he let him go. Especially trying to take care of his race car as long as he can, knowing we still have one more pit stop left, and it's actually not that far away. Trying to make sure he can make it on one more pit stop to the end of the race as well. And now he gets to the inside of Kenny Wallace. And he'll be able to pass him this time. Down into the hairpin, and he does. So he gains a lot of ground on Ashton Lewis. Lap 73 at the line. About a quarter of a tank of fuel left for Labonte, so he should definitely make it on one more pit stop today. Just a 2 pit stop race for him. Played the track position game perfectly. 2 pit stops. Compared to everybody else, will have to take 3 at the end, and it's probably been the main reason why Labonte's been able to get to the lead. He could have pitted with everybody else under that last caution, but he chose not to. And almost lost the lead a couple different times on the restart, but he was able to hang on, got the lap traffic. He's pulling away. Big dive to the inside of McMurray. Definitely broke really late into that corner, but he does clear him. Nice clean pass. That's all that matters in the end, and McMurray's going to go a lap down. Remember, McMurray also turned himself earlier. McMurray's been a part of 2 cautions today. He's involved in that first accident with Kenny Wallace, then he tried to block Labonte. That brought out the 3rd caution as he spun himself on the outside of Labonte into turn 7 while Terry was trying to pass him for position at the time. So Terry had pitted under green a few laps prior. So Terry Labonte has just clinched the most laps led, leading that last lap. That'll give him a 10 bonus point day here at Infineon. As he pulls right to the back bumper of his teammate, Joe Nemechek. Gonna let front row Joe go right there. Now he gets to the outside of him. It's going to give him plenty of room, though, underneath him. They're still side by side. Using that excess pavement to the outside, and now tries to outbrake him into the hairpin. Boy, Jeff Green really checked up as well. Bonnie had to go a little bit higher than he wanted to, trying to make sure he wasn't going to make contact with Green. He does finally clear Joe Nemechek at least, so he's able to pull back down and run single groove. Definitely helps being in the S's. Ooh, man, right in the back of Jeff Green. Check on the outside. Ricky Craven, our Daytona 500 winner, right there now. Just gonna let him go. Tight area of the racetrack down to the start-finish line. 15, almost 16-second lead for Labonte. Just hugging the curbing there to try and put Craven a lap down. Really tight through the carousel, and he clears him. Bonnie kind of blocks him off, making sure that Craven wasn't going to cross him back over again. We'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race as soon as we complete this lap. Bonnie now going to put Bill Elliott a lap down. Elliott's had a poor performance today. He was known as being a pretty solid road course racer in his day, but not today. Driving the 9 car, Ray Evernham, as he qualified 42nd, has been pretty much right around 25th to 30th the whole race. Kind of shocking is Robbie Gordon running towards the back for most of the day. Dale Jarrett mid-pack as well. Jarrett in the top 10 in points. So just stick with the far chase cam for the rest of the race. 35 laps to go at Infineon. So our first set of drivers is going to try to short pit this time. Terry Labonte's just going to stay out as long as he can here. He's already clinched the most laps led, but just going to make sure nobody different leads a lap. So we're kind of playing defense mode as far as that goes, despite leading in this race. A little bit of a wheel spin there on the curbing. That was probably a bad time to get back to the gas, but you had to get back to the gas at some point. Rival Sterling Marlin right in front of Terry Labonte right now. Labonte trying the inside line with Kyle Petty right there. A little contact. The inside definitely worked versus the outside in turns 7 and 8. And there is Sterling Marlin. Ooh! Labonte hard into the wall, and now the right front's ready. He spun the tires again. Got to be careful. Late in the race, rival right in front of him. Left front pretty damaged. Not as damaged as the right front now, as Labonte spun the tires a little too much. Clipped the tire wall in turn 9. Being extra patient to try and get around him. And Marlin might try to take a swing at him, so Labonte's got to be careful. Big swing. And around he... No! Both drivers go around, and the race leader gets taken out by the 40 of Sterling Marlin. Huge crash. 4th caution of the night with less than 35 laps to go. Marlin has just cleaned out the race leader, Terry Labonte.
That was incredible.
Terry Labonte didn't have much of a race.
Well, he gave it all he had, and that's all you can ask of any driver.
We hope you enjoyed today's broadcast of NASCAR Winston.
Contemplating it, he should have came to pit road that time. Unbelievable. In a race that Labonte was pretty dominant. If he could have just made it a little bit longer to get to pit road for his final stop of the day, might have been it. And the feud continues for the 3rd consecutive race. That was the first time that Labonte and Marlin even saw each other the whole race. And Marlin still tried to clean him out, and boy did he ever. Kind of a classless act from veteran Sterling Marlin. The right front was a lot more damaged than the left front, but he kind of hit him on the left front. And again, that was enough to clean him out. That is a hard one to swallow, and that is back-to-back DNFs now for Terry Labonte, and that is 3 DNFs in the last 5 races. Unbelievable. Well, it inverted the finishing order once again, randomizing it, and Mike Skinner is going to go on to win his first career race. Sorry, not first career race. His first race of the season. He did win 1 race with RCR. Point Spain race at least. Leading just 2 laps. 13 lead changes today. And again, 4 cautions for 14 caution laps. DNF's slowly starting to catch up with Labonte again. That's his 7th of the year, but that one was definitely not his doing. And it's not the first time that he had been taken out by a lap car leading a race. Remember back to Rockingham, the 2nd race of the season, he was leading with less than 40 to go and a lap car took him out intentionally. I mean, that's 2 races that he's had less than 40 laps left where he was kind of dominating and got taken out by a lap car at the end of a fuel run. Wanting to get retaliation. So Sterling Marlin's got another thing coming. And we go to Daytona tomorrow night. That is tough. But Mike Skinner goes on to win. Again, randomization of the finishing order. It didn't invert the entire field, but it inverted a little bit of the top 10. So that's going to shake up the point standings even more. Mike Skinner with the win once again. Kevin Harvick 2nd. Christian Fittipaldi 3rd. He qualified 8th, but he was running outside the top 30 most of the day. But the inversion gets him to 3rd. Johnny Benson 4th. Rusty Wallace 5th. Matt Kenseth 6th. Kenny Wallace 7th. Wallace didn't qualify that well. Was running right around 20th to 30th, but the inversion helps him finish 7th. Elliott Sadler 8th. Jeremy Mayfield 9th. We saw him run at the back. And Dale Jr. rounds out the top 10. And we didn't really see Jr. in the top 10 at all. He's pretty much running right about where he qualified, around 20th, but the inversion might have actually helped Dale Jr. there. Again, a couple handful of different drivers led laps today, and Jack Sprague had an engine failure. He actually finished last. The only two DNFs were Sprague and Labonte. Labonte led just over half the race. 57 of the 110 laps led. But he only ran about 76 laps in the race. Taken out with just 29 laps to go. Or sorry, not 29. 34 laps to go. Tough break. See where Sterling Marlin finished after wiping him out. I bet it wasn't even worth it for Marlin either. I mean, he stayed on the lead lap because of it. Marlin finished 38th, so I mean, he wasn't even that fast. Another reason why Labonte never really saw him the whole race. The DNFs need to... That wasn't even my fault. I mean, you guys saw it right there. We got taken out by a lap car. DNFs need to stop from this point forward. I mean, at least it's not like an uphill climb like it was last season as far as trying to catch up in the points. But second time this year. And we saw that a couple times in Season 1, too, where a lap car took Biffle out of a couple shots to win the race when we were running as him in Season 1. But that is just definitely uncalled for, and Sterling Marlin's got another thing coming here from Terry Labonte, and that's just a tough way to end the race. A race that probably should have been won by Labonte. Dale Jr. will regain the points lead after a top 10 run at Infineon, and the points leader, Tony Stewart, who went in 26 points ahead of Jr., will now be 32 points behind him, but he only drops back to second. Matt Kenseth up to third in points, so Kenseth's starting to climb back into it. A couple of top 10s in the last few races. Mark Martin fourth in the standings now. He went in third. Bobby Labonte up to the top 5, running fifth. Jeff Burton sixth. Then you got Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett, the top 9. So the top 9 still within one race worth of points. And Terry Labonte still 10th in points. Didn't lose any spots in points here today, but he does lose ground. He went from 134 points back to 195 back. So again, a DNF. He didn't lose too many points, all things considered, with the swap of the points lead, with Stewart not finishing that well despite running in the top 5. Man. Gotta hope. We might need to run the Cheez-It paint scheme tomorrow or something. Have good luck on our side again. The Got Milk paint scheme, not very fortunate for us. DNF in 2 of the 2 races we ran with it. Boy, what a tough break. So that is the point standings, the next 4 races. We already mentioned we go to Daytona tomorrow night. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the start time for the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Then we'll run at Chicagoland on Tuesday night, Wednesday night at New Hampshire, and back to Pocono for the second time this year on Thursday. So that is going to wrap things up here today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Unfortunately, the race came to an end prematurely, but I think you can definitely blame that on Sterling Marlin taking out Terry Labonte there, while Labonte was leading with less than 35 laps to go here today. But thanks for everybody tuning in. Again, like, share, but most importantly, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We continue to grow in subscribers by the daily. The road to 1,000 is still very much attainable. Thanks for everybody tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Go Pack Go. Hopefully they can get the win in the NFC Championship game today and punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. You know I'll be watching that. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7 at Daytona, right here on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Enjoy, everybody.